Well, hello, my friends. Welcome back to another week of games for the Solitaire print and play contest. I think Dmitry is taking a break this week, but the other usual suspects will have their videos up. All the links, of course, are down below. And this week, I picked for us to try Blade Sisterhood. This was designed by Cy Badger, and he describes it as a puzzly, in-hand game of stealth and free running. Haha! So the game itself is only 18 cards. You don't actually need the back of the cards. You can just print the front only, and you can play this game held in your hand and kind of track things with your finger if you like. The other thing you can do is play it on the table with a little, a cube or a marker to also match your progress. It is an in-hand game, but it's a little different. It's not a rotating game. I don't know if you saw Matt's game last week, but this is not the game where you rotate and flip and put behind and ups and downs. It's not like that, which is good because I struggle with, trying to get everything done just in my hands. This one, you merely hold it in your hand and move around with your finger to try to decide what you're doing. The other cool thing is there are two rounds, I guess would be one way to say it. There's sort of a setting 1 and setting 2. And if you're naturally sort of holding the card in your hand, it's very easy to keep your finger on whatever it is. This is number 1, which means all the little 1 icons activate. The next turn, we're now on 2, and all the little 2 icons activate. That's pretty much all you have to do to hold this card in your hand, is to move your fingers back and forth. There is on the little, what would you call this, title card, a back side, which is also kind of cool. If you want, you can hold your card like this, and if it's a 1, you go here, and then when you turn to 2, you go here, if moving your little finger back and forth isn't to your pleasure. And this little card also has the reference for the actions you can take. We'll go all over all of that, but I just wanted to show you. I think a lot of times we see these in-hand games and we assume, oh, it's like Palm Island and I'm going to be switching and turning. No. This one really is just 1, 2, and use your finger to track your progress. What are we doing in this game? Haha! Unfortunately, the Blade Sisterhood is a gang of assassins. Yes, they are. So we will be running around the map, climbing up to rooftops, avoiding line of sight of these guards who, look here, and then they look here, and then they look here, right? They're just scanning. And somewhere on the map, we will have our target, who is currently gazing in one direction. And what we're trying to do is using our little action path here to make it from where we start to the assassin, through the guards without being seen in order to assassinate our target. Once we do, we also have to flee off the map and not be seen. If we can't do it, we don't get to score the card, it goes face down. If we do manage to complete our mission, we will score the card and keep it face up. Now, there are only 18 cards in this deck, and this is sort of, the designer said, kind of like the base. Like he's hoping to give it more theme and flair. Right now it's just sort of, plain old buildings, but he's thinking of adding like civilizations, maybe give it a Japanese flair or an Egyptian flair. You can kind of jazz the images up. And of course, as you play this game, you'll figure out what path works to assassinate, depending on where you start. So being able to, throw in some new cards would also help keep this game nice and fresh. But man, for a game that you can just print out 18 cards, paperclip them together, throw them in your pocket, and you can whip it out and play this just about anywhere. Don't need any dice, don't need any tokens, don't need any, pencils or paper. This is a fun little game, hand game only. For our benefit, however, just so that you all don't, lose your minds, I will be playing this on the table with a token. I find when I try to watch in-hand games, the person holding the cards is always, kind of moving around and thinking, and it makes me seasick. I'm like I have the worst motion sickness. It's terrible. There's so many games I can't play because of it. So I love the still camera view. So we're going to be playing this tabletop view, and I'm going to go find a little token to move around for us, just for stability reasons. And hopefully I'll show you a card or two and how the mechanics play, so that if you're interested in printing out these 18 cards, or you have an idea of how to make this game better, click the link and go help yourself to it. Okay. Let me get our little tokens and we will play. So before we begin, let's look at the little actions that we're allowed to take. And what's kind of interesting is that you're restricted on what you can do. You cannot do the same action twice, no matter how long you wait. You must break up your actions. But they're optional. You never have to take an action. You can always pause and let the guards move around a little bit. So on your turn, you have the option of doing two things. Run as far as you want on the level you're on, and then take an action, also if you want. So what actions can we do? Here they are. They're over here on this side. First off, you can assassinate someone. This is a wonderful action. We love taking this one, and it's pretty much available to you whenever you want, all right? After you assassinate someone, or right when you start the game, you are allowed one of two actions. We can either climb up a level, or we could climb down a level. So if we are starting on a rooftop, we can get down. If we're starting on the ground, we can get up. So let's say we decide to climb up. Now I'm only allowed 3 actions. I can either assassinate someone if I wanted to, climb down, or jump. Let's say we decide to jump. After I jump, I am only allowed to climb down. That's all I can do. This little arrow doesn't go back to climb up again. So there is a little bit of restrictions on your movement, so you can kind of have to track what you've done, and that reminds you what's currently open. Let's just peek at a card real quick, just to give you an example of levels. Here's a good one. All right. So the ground is considered level 0, and we can run as far as we want around it, as long as we're not in the line of sight of a guard. If we take a climb action, we go to the first rooftop, which is these light browny orangey rooftops. We can take, if we remember, break it up by jumping. Let's say we climb here, we jump here, and now if we wanted to, we could take another climb action, which would put us way up here on a 2nd story rooftop. So there's sort of 3 levels in the game: ground floor, first rooftop, 2nd rooftop. All right. And like we said, the guards are going to have a line of sight, and they're going to sort of be looking back and forth. They look as far as they can on the level they're on. So this guard will see these 2 ground stairs. He will not see anything up here on the rooftop. All right. Where's another good example? This guard will see ground. He won't see this rooftop, and he won't see the ground behind it. This little guy has no number associated with him. So this guard is always looking this way. Doesn't matter what round we're on, he is planted right here, and you are not getting past him. Finally, you'll see the little blue target has a line of sight. You can walk in front of your target, because he doesn't know you're assassin. He doesn't know he's about to die. So you're allowed to wander around in front of him. However, in order to assassinate him, you cannot do it in the direction he's looking. It makes sense, right? If he saw you coming at him with a knife, he'd run. So we have to get him from the side or behind. So the line of sight for the target, you can run through it. If you ever end up in the line of sight of a guard, you must immediately flee. You have to exit on the nearest edge, and you don't score the card, and you lose the mission. All right? But that's kind of how line of sight works and how our actions work. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and pull our first little card here. We're going to start on the bottom, and when we come in, we get to enter the card on the first round only, anywhere on the top row that we want, okay? Normally it depends on which way you exit. That's where you have to enter your card, but for the start of the game, we get to start anywhere. And we know the guards are looking at 1. So let's say there's our little target. Oh, this is an easy card. Okay, so if I start here, The guards are looking up. The first action that I'm going to take is a climb action. I'm not going to bother running, and I'm just going to hop right on top of this rooftop. Ba-doom. Now the guards are going to rotate, and they're going to look at 2. All right. So I need to get down in order to assassinate this guy. So I think what we're going to do is when you climb down, you have to also roll. So what that means is I'm going to have to move, let's say over 1. I'm going to run to here. The guard doesn't see me, so I'm still good. And I'm going to take the climb down action. So I'm going to go down 1 and roll. So we're in the courtyard with them. Our guards are still just scanning the rooftop, so we're okay. Now we're going to go back to stance 1. I'm going to take my run action to move up 1 and into him in order to assassinate him. So I did it. My target is dead. Now I have to get out of here without being seen. And I think the best way to do that is going to be, the guards are going to move to 2. And I'm going to climb once more onto this, bloop, and I'm going to exit the card this way. Now that becomes important because this next card that I flip, we're going to have to enter anywhere on this side. All right, so we don't get the lovely benefit of being able to pick our entry spots. Okay, so we're on setting 2, so we're gonna, I wonder, do you keep it or do you flip what the guards are doing? Let me check. All right, so the designer said that you continue the new card in the round where you left off. It's just to give you the idea that this is like a continuous action. So we're gonna go ahead and set the guards to 2 when we come in to our map. If you want to play hard mode, if you've decided this is too easy for you, then you have to enter on the exact square you left, which is terrifying. We're not going to play hard mode, so I'm going to let myself enter anywhere along this edge, because sometimes you can enter and be immediately in a guard's line of sight and you lose the mission right away. So we don't quite want to do that. So let's slide this off here. We know our guards are looking at 2. We scored that card. So where do we want to come in? All right. Oh, man. Ooh, so there's an eyeball on this one, and I'm sure you saw on the back. If there's any special things, he says on the back what it is. So when you reach the space, you may look at the next 2 map cards in the deck. So that's nice, so we can tell which edge we want to exit from. That's actually super powerful as the game goes on. Okay, so we are coming in on this edge. Guards are looking 2. Okay. So what if we start on the rooftop? What do we think about that? What if we start here and we can run, boot, boot, and take the descend action. So we will drop and roll. Ooh, but I didn't look at the next 2 cards. That's all right. It'll be fine. And then the guards are going to look 1. Will anyone see me if I assassinate this guy? They won't. So let's take the assassinate action here. Boom. We're just going to move into him and assassinate him. Love it. The guards now look 2. So how do we want to get out of here? I don't know what this next card is. But let's just take it easy. This guard's looking this way, so let's just run off the map here. Boom. So we're going to exit here, which means we're going to entrance here. The guards are still set on 2. Okay. Let's see what we can do on this card. Where do we want to enter? Okay, I think if we enter here, and we're going to wait. We're not going to do anything because both of these guards are staring down this alleyway, which I do not enjoy. So instead, I think I should note too that you are allowed to assassinate the guards. If they're in your way, you can actually drop around behind them and kill them, which is cool. If you do assassinate a guard. You're allowed to move through his line of sight for just that turn. After you leave his line of sight, a new guard will take his place. So it just gives you a momentary reprieve. But we're not going to do anything. We're just going to hang here. And we're going to let this go to 1. All right. I'm going to run out now that both guards aren't looking at me. And I think I'm going to take the climb action because I can't move through the target, right? And I can't murder him from the front. So let's take the climb action and end up on top. I have to be careful because this guard, nope, he's looking the other way. We're good, we're good, we're good. Okay, we're going to swing back to guard number 2. And now I'm going to move 1 and take my roll, which will drop me down, boom, in 1 step, boom. Guards go back to 1, they see nothing, and I'm going to take my assassinate. I'm going to run up to him and murder him. Now I have to get out of here. Okay, the guards go back to 2, and I don't know what's coming, but is anyone looking this way? There's no one looking this way, so let's just get off the card here. So let's flip the next one. It's also an eyeball. Small crowd, you may move through this space even if it is within line of sight of a guard. Oh, that's cool. So there's a lot of people here, so we can like mingle in. Okay, so we're going to be coming in on this edge. Guards are set on 2. All right, we're doing good. We're doing good. Oh man, this one is tricky because look, when it's set to 1, this guard's watching. When it's set to 2, this guard is watching. Although it's set to 2. Okay. Let's try it. Let's try it. Let's try a rooftop. And we're going to run along the rooftop, including this little like plank dude here. Oh, except planks. Oh, yeah, I forgot about this. Planks count as both pavement and rooftop heights. You can't jump off of them and you can't climb onto them. So I think if I'm reading that right, then if I walk onto this plank when it's set at 2, this guard is going to see me because it's also considered level, obviously, right? He can see me walking across the plank. So maybe that's not the play. Maybe I need to wait a second here. I think that's what we're going to do. So we're just going to pause. We're going to let the guards move so that no one's looking at me, so I can just chug along this little plank. Duke, duke. No one sees me. Duke. Now, this little guard will see me if I end up here, right? So let's make sure we end our run out of his line of sight. So that was my run. And then, do I want to descend? I can hide in the crowd. So yeah, let's do it. Let's drop and roll. And we're in the crowd. So we go to 2. Technically, this guard can see us, but we're in the crowd, which means we're outside of his line of sight, which is great. Because now, oh no, except this guy's looking down here. How am I going to get to that assassin? I guess I didn't want to do that. I guess I didn't want to do that. So the only way to assassinate this guy, if I come from a rooftop, I have to drop and roll. So I can't assassinate him from a rooftop. So the only place I can assassinate him from is if I come in this direction, and I have to do it while this guard isn't looking. So let's just, yeah. So I have to end up here. Oh, darn it. I think I did that wrong. All right, that's okay. We'll head back up to the rooftops. It's fine. Just kidding. We're going to climb back up here and wait. We're going to reset this to 1. And now we're going to come over here and drop and roll because we're on 1, so he won't see me. Drop and roll. Okay. We're going to go back to 2. I have to wait because this guy's watching here, so we're not going to do anything. We're going to wait very quietly until we go back to 1. And now no one will see me if I run in here and take my assassinate action, which is great, but the guards are now set to 2, so I can't get out right now. Just gonna wait. Boom. And now this guard isn't looking, so I'm gonna have to exit the map up here. And we'll exit on this side. All right, so that I think is a pretty good idea of how you play it. I don't go through all the cards and spoil them. Being able to come in, what side you come in, makes the game, it makes the card, you know, easier or harder. Like I said, there are additional hard modes to this. I'm just playing it easy to show you how it works. Being forced to come in on a particular square, for example, here we would be, let's say we're playing hard mode, all right? If I drop this card and I enter here, the guards are set on 1. There's nothing I can do. I run smack dab into a guard, I'm seen, and I don't get to score this card and I have to flee. So that makes the game a lot harder. You kind of have to kind of know what cards are out there and what's a good side to come on, and there's a lot of other, you know, ways to make it hard. If you want to play it even harder, I think you can also make it where you can't run an unlimited amount, like you can only run in one direction, right? You can't scoot all over the board. So there are ways to sort of, you know, if you want, jazz this up a bit. But at its base, the heart of this game, I think, is super cute. I'm very intrigued by it. I love the idea of building this map that you're going from one assassination to the other, that you're just kind of like running across these rooftops and taking these people out. I think that's very cool. Having the guards moving back and forth, you know, trying to figure out who's looking where and when. It's a nice little different thinker game for such a small thing. You know, it's just a card that you hold in your hand when you're playing. And, you know, they recommend using your thumb to track your progress this way, and then using your finger to track your progress this way. And that's the whole game. Just a couple of cards in your hand. How cool is that? I love it. So I'm curious to see how he puts in themes onto here, so it's not just pavement and rooftop, but gets a little more of, you know, a little artistic flair. I think that could be a lot of fun. I think playing hard mode is super hard. You do not score quite as many cards as I scored on hard mode. But once you get the idea of how the game works and how the turn action goes, I think hard mode is the way to go for this one. Like I said, if you have any ideas or thoughts of ways to sort of jazz this up, or you're excited to give this a try, click the link below. It's an 18 card deck. You honestly don't have to print the backs at all. You can just print the fronts and have a little, you know, a stack of goodness sitting in your pocket, waiting for a free moment to enjoy. All right, my friends, that's it for this week. Go check out my fellow compatriots, and I will catch you next week.